Hakadosh Boker Tov. We're just going to continue with the halachot now of pataba bekisnin, and we're going to have to explain what exactly is mezonot bread. Pataba bekisnin means it's a bread which is actually a snack. It's something going to be eaten on the go, and therefore the question is, what exactly qualifies for pataba bekisnin? That you make a boreh min mezonot beforehand and al michya afterwards, other than obviously if you're going to be kovea seuda, which means you fix a seuda on it, and then again you're going to make, right, with the 216 grams, you're going to make hamotzi, netilat yadayim hamotzi, and then mikat hamazon. So Maram brings down in Sif Zayin, what exactly is pataba bekisnin? So the first explanation of pataba bekisnin is something which is going to be memuleh. What exactly is memuleh? He comes and he says is that you're going to fill it up, whether it's going to be with sugar, honey, walnuts, almonds, other tavlinim. So this is called memuleh. And even if it is going to be that you took out this milui after, right, the afiyah, which means, and you're only going to eat the batzek. So for example, let's say you have a raisin challah that you put raisins inside. And then afterwards I decide, I'm going to take out all the raisins. Still, it's going to be pataba bekisnin, because we go after shat hafiyah. So he says, and if you're going to take out, let's say, these raisins after the aviyah, and you're going to eat, right, only just, let's say, the raisins, so then you're going to make the bracha of just the raisins, right, which is ayetz, right? So, and that's it. That's what you're going to do. Why? Because this is called memuleh. So there's something which is filled. That's going to be the first classification of pataba bekisnin. The second one, right, and there's going to be, by the way, a machloket in this one, is does it have to be sweet, or even if it's going to be salty? So for sure, according to all opinions, even, right, if it's going to be sweet, it's mezonot. And that's why, for example, you have burek, not burekas, but you have, let's say, for example, rogalach, or you've got chocolate croissant, right, and all these things that since you have a sweet filling in the middle, for sure, according to all opinions, it's going to be mezonot. The question is, what happens if it's going to be salty? That will be a machloke that we'll speak about later on. The second one is called nilosh. Nilosh is that you're going to come and you're going to lash, you're going to knead the dough with certain items, certain products. So for example, you're going to knead it with honey, with oil, or with milk, or you put other things which is going to make it sweet, and its taste is recognizable in the dough. So then according to Shitat HaShulchan Aruch, you're going to make a boreh min mezonot, which means even though the majority is water, meaning you have the majority water and you have flour, right? So that means the majority is water and flour. Still, according to Shitat Shulchan Aruch, as long as it's sweet and you taste the sweetness, you're going to come and you're going to make a boreh min mezonot. According to Ashkenazim, it's a little bit different. According to Ashkenazim, it's not only that if it's sweet, right, it's going to make it mezonot. According to Ashkenazim, you need that the majority of it, meaning the ikar of the isa, the ikar of the dough, the main aspect of the dough is made out of other than water. So therefore, if you've got 51% fruit juice, right, whether it's apple juice or other juices, right, and then you come and you put, right, the rest of the water, as long as you have the majority and it tastes sweet, you're going to make mezonot, right? But even according to Ashkenazim, if it does not taste sweet, you do not make a mezonot. It's still a motzi. The chidush though by the Ashkenazim is that they could have these sweet challahs, right, or any type of the challahs which have egg and they have apple juice in it, but as long as it's a majority water, it's still hamotzi. So that's why you could go to the stores and you're going to get all these chalot that really for Sfaradim should probably be mezonot because it's sweet, but for them it's still hamotzi. Because as long as they had 51% water, that's it. It's going to become hamotzi. So that is going to be according to the minhag of the Ashkenazim. So because of this, says Rav David Yosef, that there's going to be a rebuke about what's going on in the shuk nowadays, in the marketplace nowadays. He says, why? Nowadays they come and they're selling bread. And the bread in itself, they call it mezonot bread. But he says, one second, mezonot bread, according to Sfaradim, it has to actually taste sweet. You come, you take this bread, you taste it. You don't taste anything sweet. So if you don't taste anything sweet, why in the world would it become mezonot? It's actually hamotzi. Right? And then that's it. Even if the majority is going to be from apple juice or for any other types of juices, they're mixing it. You have to taste the sweetness. Then he says, even according to Ashkenazim, even if you do have the 51%, so for them, they do have the ikar in the isa, meaning the main part of the dough is going to be apple juice and other things, it also has to taste sweet, right? Because if it's not going to taste sweet, it doesn't help either. So therefore, he comes and he says, whether according to Sfaradim or whether according to Ashkenazim, it's hamotzi bread. It's not mezonot bread. So therefore, it's very, very important that when you are going to go and you're going to purchase bread and it says mezonot, to actually make sure that behemet it's mezonot. Behemet it has to be sweet. Whether according to Sfaradim, sweet, even though the entire thing is water, right? Or according to Ashkenazim, sweet, and the majority is fruit juice or the majority is not water. That's what you're going to need. But you still need it to be sweet. The last one, which Maram brings down, is going to be pati v'shashekot sasimota, something which is crunchy. Something, for example, like a cracker. So that's going to be the third ones of the shita of what makes it pataba bekisnin. Now, Maran actually brings down that he paskins like all three. What does it mean paskining by all three? In any of these three cases, whether you're going to have a bread which is memuleh, filled with something, or it's going to be nilosh, which means that in the dough in itself, it's already kneaded together with other things, whether it's going to be sugar and other things as that, or number three, it's going to be hard like a cracker, crunchy like a cracker. In any of these three cases, it becomes mezonot. Why? Because each one of these, they classify as pataba bekisnin. There is going to be a machloke brought down in the Biur Halacha to do with whether each opinion argue on each other or each opinion was speaking about their minhag of their place, what is called pataba bekisnin. There are going to be also ramifications from that. For example, what's going to be the halacha on a wrap? So it all depends on how do you learn the explanation of these three different explanations. Do they argue on each other, or do they actually, in fact, agree to each other? That will also make different implications later on in the halacha. But for sure, what we need to know, though, is that any of these three categories, they classify as pataba v'kistin, as mezonot bread, and that's exactly how we're going to be paskening halacha l'maaseh.